My best money thoughts if you're going to work for somebody else. So I just thought of this actually like yesterday. If you're going to work for somebody else, you want to work for a person whoever owns the company, you want them to be liberal. You don't want to work for a conservative person. And let me explain to you why. If you work for a person who's conservative, the business owner, for example, if they're very conservative, they're going to want to pay you the absolute least amount of money to get the most out of you. And this is like companies like Walmart, for example. I think they pay like what, 15 an hour, or McDonald's. These are like very, very big profitable companies that could pay their companies more, but their owners are very conservative and right-leaning, so they're not going to pay their employees. But you look at like more liberal companies, they're going to pay $20, $25 an hour. And it's just like, which if this is why I say, like, if you're going to work for somebody else, obviously if you're a business, you can choose however you want. Like if you want to work for somebody else or work for yourself, whatever you want. I'm just telling you that if you're going to work for somebody else, you want to work for somebody who's liberal, because they're going to give you more money and they're going to be more lenient to you, and they're not going to like treat you like a slave, basically, like conservatives do. That's what they do. They try to get the most out of you to get the least amount of money, so that way they can make more money. And liberals will spread the money out, like everyone gets their fair share. And this is just politics. This is just a liberal mindset versus a conservative mindset. A conservative mindset is, I want to work my workers as hard as they can work. I want to get the most out of them, and I want to pay them the very, very least. Because if you think about it, most people who are conservative, like they're the right-leaning, they would pay their employees. If they didn't have to pay their employees, they wouldn't do it. But labor laws, they have to pay their employees. So because of that, they're going to give the lowest wage, 15 an hour, $10 an hour. Like they're going to give the very, very now, of course, that's better than $0 an hour. I'm not saying that at all. A job is better than no job any day of the week. It gives you productivity, gives you momentum, gives you income, keeps you busy. The list goes on. What I'm telling you is, if you're going to work for somebody else, work for somebody who's liberal leaning, who will give you more money, who's going to be more lenient to you. And that's if you want to work for somebody else. Obviously, like, that's very, very rare though, because most business, I would say like 90% of business owners are conservative leaning, because you make more money. Like, you're going to make more money to yourself if you're conservative leaning. You get the most out of your employees if you're conservative leaning. You don't care about them at all. You literally don't care about them. You treat them like they're nothing. And, you get to keep all the income. And like I said, this is like 90% of business owners are conservative leaning, because they want money. Like, this is why people want to start a business, is to make money and to do things their own way. Because, most human beings think that their way is the right way. And this is just how we're wired as human beings. We all think that we're right. There's not very many people who are understanding of other people's viewpoints. We all think that our viewpoint is the best one there is. That's just how we're wired as individuals. So just keep this in mind. If you're going to get a job, just look up ChatGPT, top 5 liberal companies to work for, or just best liberal company. Like, use your resources. I'm going to be the best resource I can for you. That's not a computer, that I actually have a real brain, a human being brain. And I'm going to help you that way. And these are like important thoughts. Like, I'm giving you like the absolute best information I can. And this is probably one of the best information I can give you on making money if you're going to work for somebody else. This is if you absolutely want to work for somebody else, you don't want to work for yourself. Do this. Because if you work for somebody who is conservative, they're not going to pay you. It doesn't matter, even if you even however far much you climb up the ladder, it doesn't matter. Even if you're climbing up the ladder, it doesn't matter, because they're still the business owner, they're conservative, they're going to still try to pay you the least. Because conservative people, if you run a business and you're conservative, your mindset is, I want to make the most amount of money as possible, and I want to pay my slaves or my employees the least amount possible, so that way I can make the most amount of money as possible. That's a business owner's mindset. That's a conservative mindset. So keep this in mind if you want to work for somebody else. I hope this video helps you. If it did, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.